Welcome to A Second Helping with Allison Bartow, a wedding photography podcast with a focus on second shooting. On this week's wedding, we have a wedding crashing baby, an unrelated, uninvited woman, a huge boutonniere for the groom, and some prop cologne. Hello, welcome back. It is Saturday, September 16th. I am on my way to a wedding with Megan. We are shooting at Loch Aerie in Malvern. This will be my fifth wedding, second shooting for Megan, my first time at Loch Aerie and also her first time. I'm excited. It's been on my bucket list. It looks like a beautiful venue and it's also really close to my home, which is very convenient. I haven't shot with Megan since May, and that last wedding was really pretty. That was the day that I had the crazy heartburn attack from drinking way too much iced coffee way too fast. But the day was gorgeous. That was also the wedding where the bridesmaid tried to tell us that where we positioned them, or rather where Megan had positioned them, wasn't going to work, which still just makes me laugh. Those pictures came out beautifully, by the way, in case anybody was worried. So this will be my fifth time, as I said, shooting with her, both of our first times there. I'm excited. The other vendors, Sirach Catering, John Sirach does a great job. The Master's Baker is the baker. Everybody loves them. And then Vintage Betty is doing the florals. And I've never seen her work in person, so I'm excited to experience that for the first time. Megan's timeline is always spot on. They're all very, very similar. Most of her brides do a first look. Megan loves doing a flat lay. She trains her brides to bring like a plastic bin or tote with all of the items so that she has everything there to do a nice flat lay. Megan brings a styling mat, a knee pad, accessories. So she loves that. And then I normally do something with the guys, not to that extent. But yeah, the biggest challenge shooting with Megan is that her second shooters only are allowed to use one body and really no off-camera flash. So it's kind of funny because I've been working so much with off-camera flash, and everything I've shot recently, there's been a lot of off-camera flash. So it's kind of good to practice then just going back to working with on-camera flash. I'll be using my mag sphere and my mag bounce. And it's funny because I have two of everything because I'm so used to shooting with two bodies. So I have to remember that, like, really, I don't need my trigger. I don't need two mag spheres and two mag bounces in my bag. So I'm going to pull from my flash bag once I get to the venue. That's it. It should be a great day. Like I said, the weather is gorgeous and I'm really looking forward to it. Welcome back. All right, so it is after the wedding. It is a couple days after the wedding. I shot 1,227 photos over 8 hours, which is 153 per hour. Jumping into things that went well. Obviously, the venue was nice and close to my house. I had time with Megan ahead of time before we got started. So there was just time with her and I to kind of like catch up on things and talk about things. So it was kind of nice to like ease into the day rather than just hitting the ground running when I got there. It is a beautiful venue. The venue manager was really great. The florists were there the whole time, which was convenient, but also weird. That's just not the norm. The groom prep area, they had downstairs like a summer kitchen that had been remodeled. And then there was another like enclosed area. And then you went down and they also had this really beautiful vaulted ceilinged wine cellar with like a cupola with a light window at the top. So you were underground, but with natural light coming down. And that was like set up as like a gaming room. And it was really cool. The portraits, I really like some of the portraits I got of the groom and his brother. We used the grand staircase for the first look, which I think Megan's photos are going to look really good. I was positioned up at the top.
sort of getting out of view and trying to get like any angles from up there. So mine weren't as good. And then I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I also shoot more behind the scenes of Megan because I know that she likes those photos and she also uses them. So throughout the day, I'm always looking for opportunities to get good behind the scenes photos for her that she'll be able to use. The couple loved kissing. So it sounds weird. It was nice because they were just naturally affectionate. And so it wasn't us telling them to kiss, or like you didn't have to kind of force it. And some people just aren't comfortable, and that's fine. But they were just really in love, and it was quite sweet. I like some of the angles that I got throughout the day. I feel like I got some good angles that will look good in the gallery. We had on our shot list at the end, there was like 5 additional groupings of like, let's get photos of the bride and groom with these groups throughout the night. And luckily, we were able to run into all those people with the bride and groom at cocktail hour. So we were able to knock those off the list, which always feels good because then it's not just like lingering. Cocktail hour was super easy. Most of it was outside. It was a beautiful day. And it was really easy. Obviously, lighting was really good. People weren't like shoulder to shoulder, so you had space to breathe. And because it was outside, you could do like big groupings of people. So I got lots of grip and grins from outside. I actually liked the cake cutting photos this time. I feel like I was able to get good flash on them and then still have the ambient light. And the flowers were amazing. I wasn't sure. The florist was Vintage Betty Rentals, and I can't tell quite what's going on. So she does vintage pieces. She repurposes some and refinishes some and does different things. I wasn't sure what the flower situation was going to be because anytime someone like double dips like that, it can get weird. The flowers were gorgeous. The weird thing, they seem to be like based out of the venue. All of their pictures seem to be from that venue. They were really comfortable there, which was good. And then, like I said earlier, they were there all day, which isn't the norm. But beautiful flowers. The flower girls were really well behaved. There were only 2 flower girls. They were sisters, and they were super well behaved and really cute. The biggest thing, the families were super nice. We had shot the bride's sister's wedding last year, to look up what the date was. So I was Megan's second shooter for that, which was really nice because I was a little bit familiar with a few of the people. They were super comfortable with us, and a few people came up throughout the day, and then at the end of the night just saying like how happy they were and they loved working with us, and it was really sweet. And I think it was the bride said to me, I was so excited when I found out that you were going to be doing the second shooting. It made me really happy and really put me at ease. And so that really just made my day that she said that. So things that were a little bit challenging. We were there early, but we couldn't get into the venue early. The front door, it's smart. They have like signs outside letting guests know, like you can enter here at 5 and this area, it will be open at 7. But we were there, and because neither one of us had worked there before, we just weren't sure where we were allowed to go. So when we did get in, AJ, the venue guy there, was super nice. So now we know there's like a whole side door over there that goes up to where the prep rooms are, and it was really nice. Megan's really good. She's a super rule follower, so she never wants to rock the boat. I'm not trying to break any rules normally, but you know, when you're a florist and you're coming in with buckets and water and flowers and leaves and stuff, and you're trying to set up tables, you have to have like a specific time that you're coming. You have to know when they're dropping linens and all of that. I feel like as photographers, if I just want to come in and like set down some lighting gear in the corner and just kind of get the lay of the land before the bride and groom get there, it's not a huge deal. I never want to be in the way, and I always kind of gauge someone's reaction. But Megan doesn't want to go in any earlier, without permission. So we killed some time, and then we went in, and like I said, the venue guard was really, really great. The flowers were gorgeous. The boutonniere was huge. So our groom is on the shorter side. He's about the same height as the bride. maybe a little shorter. But he's a shorter guy, and it's a huge boutonniere. It's a huge, like, Playa Blanca rose. Like, it's like a big rose. So, I mean, it's an exaggeration to say like a grapefruit, but like maybe like the size of a big Granny Smith apple. So when it came time for the mom to pin it on, she was trying to pin it on and she couldn't. She was struggling. So there was no one else around. So finally, I tried to help. I hate boutonnieres. I hate them. I owned a flower shop and I hate them. I can't do it. I understand what's supposed to be happening and I can't do it. I bent 4 pins. The groom was messing with it. By the time I got there, I mean, I was there, I was taking pictures, but by the time I got involved with the actual pinning, the ribbon was starting to come off. And I get so nervous because I don't want it to fall apart. There's only one corsage, with the exception of that other wedding recently. But generally speaking, there's only one corsage, and the groom's is different and more important than the other ones. And I don't want to be the one that snaps the stems or messes up the ribbon and just screws up the whole thing. So it was going nowhere fast. And I remembered that the florists were all hanging out. So I saw the one young girl go by. So I said, Gabrielle, I was like, we need some help with the boutonniere. Are you able to help? And she was like, oh my gosh, no, I'm terrible at that, but let me go get Elizabeth. So she actually got the owner, the floral Vintage Betty Rentals owner, to come and take care of it. So I felt a lot better because, I mean, she was there. It's her work. If anything happened, she could fix it. But I hate it. I hate it. It's awful. The guys were able to get theirs on much more easily. They were smaller, reasonable. It was fine. Another downside. So the space, they were only there from 2 to 3:30. So they had an hour and a half. And when I got down there, the groom was like, so I was thinking we'll get dressed at like 3, because they were doing his first look at 3:40. And I like, and look, they're all just sitting around and not doing anything. And so I was like, well, maybe a little bit sooner you could start getting ready, just so that you're sure everything's taken care of. And then like a little bit of time went by. And I was like, you know what, you guys should probably start getting ready now. And they still needed all the time. So I'm glad that I said that. But that being said, they were getting dressed in this summer kitchen area. So it was a long rectangular space that had just these like overhead, I don't even know what they were, lights that they were like interrogation lights. So it wasn't like an overall flat lighting. It was just people, you would walk under certain areas that were lit and others were just in shadow. So everyone was kind of tight in there. And then there was a low sofa. It was just awkward all around. One guy was playing darts at the one end. There was a TV on at the other end. People were watching football. So I had that on in the background. And because they spent the whole time getting dressed, they never like went down to the really nice wine cellar and hung out there. So Megan and I were kind of I was envisioning photos of them like hanging out, talking, and having some nice photos in that space. And they just didn't have time to get down there. Megan did want his groom portraits down there. So I made sure to let them know. And we did go down there because whenever Megan wants a certain thing, I always want to get that. Additionally, when we were going over stuff, so the timeline said like the mom wants to be, I have it right here, like mom wants to be involved with the photos. And I was like, oh, that's great. And then like the groom prep. Groom would like mom and family to be involved with groom's photos while getting ready. So I was like, all right, sounds good. But then Megan said, the mom wants to be there for everything, so don't take any pictures without her. And I was like, okay. So it goes to show though how people operate differently. So I think she has her list of like all the photos that she wants, like from portraits and, like her particular getting ready photos. So I don't know if she really meant like, don't take any pictures until you're doing like these staged photos with the mom. But I got down there at 2. I spent like 15 or 20 minutes shooting detail photos and the mom wasn't there. And I'm not going to not shoot the people that are there. So I did take some pictures of, the groomsmen that were there. The dads were there. So I was able to get some pictures of the dads. And then like, I think mom showed up at like 2:30. So she was fine. She's very nice. So I made sure to have lots of pictures with her in them, but I couldn't not shoot anything until she got there. And then the other challenge, the notes ahead of time said that the brother is physically handicapped. So when Megan and I were hanging out before the wedding, like before we got started, I asked her, I said, do we know what that means? Like, is he in a wheelchair? Just because I'm trying to figure out like what adjustments we're going to need to make for portraits. And she said she has no idea. So I was like, okay. So it turns out the brother, he's not in a wheelchair, but he does have mobility issues. So he isn't able to just go up and down stairs. So luckily with the venue, they were able to go around the driveway. And so he could come into the area where groom prep was. He was able to get everywhere he needed to be. But I did make sure with the bridal party portraits, what I did was once he was in position, I positioned everyone like around him. So he was the best man. So I had him next to our groom and lined everybody up. And then when I wanted them in different positions, I just moved everybody else so that the brother could stay where he was. The mom and dad were there the whole time. And she takes care of them and she was, very protective. So I just wanted to make sure that he was comfortable and she was comfortable. So that all worked out. But when we were getting ready and doing prep, the groom was all dressed and then he goes, oh, I didn't give this to you. And he hands me a bottle of Tommy cologne. And he said, she wanted me to give you this for photos. I don't wear it though. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, I have my real cologne that I'm going to put on. It's not my thing. Like, I don't know why you would have fake cologne, like stage cologne, like, I don't know. Like if that's not his scent, it's not what he wears. It's just strange to me. So that's where, and I think of like photojournalist photographers, like they would die. So I was like, all right. So I took pictures of just the cologne bottle. Like I'd already done all the details. And boutonnieres were pinned on already. Cufflinks were on. Watch was on. So I just took photos of this random cologne bottle on its own. And then he had the cologne that he does wear. And it was in like a small travel thing. And he was like, I guess this isn't really wouldn't work for pictures either. Cause he was like dabbing it on his wrist. And I was like, I am absolutely taking photos of you putting that on since that's your real cologne. So it was funny, but like, it's just still one of those things that's strange to me that, brides are bringing staged cologne to weddings for photos of a cologne that you don't wear. What else? So the groom's portraits, they're okay, good. They're not great. So in this space, this wine cellar was really pretty stone walls. And then this vaulted like a barrel ceiling made out of brick. And then at the top was a cupola. So it was like, a big skylight, not a huge skylight. 4 foot by 4 foot skylight with a cupola on it. So there was all this beautiful natural light coming down, but it was just coming down. So in any of the pictures, you just have dark shadows under the eyes and everything. So I did my very best to expose for their skin and get everybody full body and all of that. But without bringing in flash, it was just going to be hard to have that any other way. But it was a unique setting. So hopefully they'll like those. And then because the brother wasn't able to get down those stairs, I scouted another location that had very similar stones. So we were able to do his portraits up there. And some of those came out really sweet, just like really, really nice. So I'm happy with those. Oh, so the ceremony was indoors. It was the nicest weather for a wedding this whole year. And the ceremony was indoors. The space is very pretty. So it was a huge room. They had it sectioned off with pipe and drape. And the ceremony space that they have has a wall with like 3 largish windows, like in a triangle. And that's like the only natural light. So it's kind of backlit. So Megan went back and forth and decided that she was going to do off-camera flash. So she put her lights up on light stands. And then I just shot natural with her 50 millimeter 1.2, because I think my 50 is a 2.8. So I used her 1.2. And then what we did was we went back and forth, came up with a game plan. in order to get the wide shot of the back of the bride going in, I used my 24-120 so that I could get the wide shot of the bride going down the aisle with her father, and then zoom in to get the groom's reaction, and then wide, and then zoom. And then as soon as she was up there, I switched over to the 50 and shot with that for the rest of the day because Megan really likes a wide open aperture. So that was our game plan for that. And then the other thing was right before the ceremony, Megan and I were talking about something, memory cards, I don't know. And then, however, we were talking about it, it came up that I shoot RAW and JPEG to both slots. And she was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I don't need that. Like, I just need the RAW files. And I was like, yeah, I think I just leave it like that because some people want both. And I would never want to shoot and then realize that I had only shot RAW and someone needed the JPEGs too. So she was like, yeah, but it's just like so much wasted space. And then you're going to run out of room on the card faster. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And so she walked away and I looked down and I realized that I only had 500 shots left. And we were halfway through the day. The ceremony was at 5 and we were shooting till 9:30. So I had 4.5 hours left. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to ask her for another memory card because I'm only shooting on one body too. Like normally if you have 2 cards and you're shooting on 2 bodies, then you can divvy it up. But this was everything all on one card. So I started getting really mindful of how many shots I had left. And spoiler alert, I made it to the end and I had, I don't know, maybe 100 left, less than 100. It all worked out. I think Megan's photos came out nicely with the flash. As pretty as the space was, the angle for shooting the bride was challenging. When I would go up that side aisle to shoot her, the background had a mini split on the wall, an exit sign, and then like a doorway that had like a curtain drawn across it. So it was a little bit busy and not that attractive. So I'd take like a couple and then I'd like move around because I didn't like it. And then the venue guy let us know that when we were done, we had 15 minutes for formals and that was it because they were flipping the room. But we were able to get them done pretty quickly, even though the list didn't look long, but it was just like full family without the grandparents, without the parents. So we broke it down pretty quickly. And then I reconfigured it a little bit in order to get the brother. So once we had the brother in position, we did all of the photos that he was in, and then we were able to let him go sit down. And then that kept it moving smoothly, and it didn't have him needing to get up and down. There was a really awkward moment at cocktail hour. So I was taking the grip and grins. And normally I'm like, oh, can I get a picture of you guys? And people are like, yeah. We're like, oh, let me put this down. And it's fine. And so there's like 4 people. And I was like, oh, can I get a picture? And they were like, yeah. But one woman had this like, oh, I don't know, like a really weird, not sure if I should kind of reaction. And I was like, oh, why? It's not, you were invited to be here. And she was like, yeah. And so I took their picture, and then later on, someone came up to me and they were like, just so you know, she wasn't invited. And I was like, what do you mean? And here, the woman she was with, something happened, and at the last minute, her husband couldn't come. So she swapped this woman in as her +1. But of all the weddings, of all the guests, this is the one that I say, I mean, you were invited, right? Oh my God. And then, the bride's sister, who I love, we had photographed her before. So I felt like we were old friends. Something happened and she looked over and there was a baby, like less than a year old, on the grass. And she's like, yeah, and this is a no kid wedding. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, that baby's not supposed to be here. And I was like, are you serious? And then I look and the mom was wearing a full length, head to toe, fuchsia, hot pink jumpsuit. And I was like, well, she's playing it low key. So that was sort of funny. For dances, I didn't have off-camera flash. So I was doing all on-camera flash. And I just focused on that. Those came out fine. I really made an effort to try to get parents and grandparents, their reactions during the speeches and dancing. They were all filming on their phones. So I just took it as it was. I took like a side shot of them holding up their phones because it's the moment as it happened. But I was really making an effort. And The dancing pics were just sort of so-so. I think they're okay. Sort of so-so. Another challenge was this bright green uplighting. So the colors were pine. So it was like it was a nice green. It was like a teal pine, I think they called it. So it wasn't that wintry green, but it was just like a really nice, rich, deep sage, maybe. I don't know. But it looked nice. However, the DJ must have been like, oh, what are your colors? Green. So it was this slime green, St. Patrick's Day green uplighting. And that was on the whole time. And then he had like, not laser lights, but whatever. He had the different rotating colored lights. So it was fine. But the green uplighting was just a lot. So that's in the background of all the pictures. So overall, it was really nice. Just knowing the families a little bit, having gone through this with them before, it was nice. It was really enjoyable to see our former bride and groom able to relax. Like, it was really funny for groom prep with him just hanging out and relaxing and not having to do all of the groom stuff. So it was funny just seeing the roles reversed. But again, everyone was just really nice, and we knew the parents already, and they were super sweet, and they were just more personal, just like the things they said to us and how appreciative they were. So that really did make the night. Like, it was just, I hate when people say warm, fuzzy feeling, but it kind of was a warm, fuzzy feeling. But yeah, they were easy to work with. Like I said, beautiful day, beautiful venue. The flowers were gorgeous. Everyone was nice. I mean, even the groom at one point towards the end came up to me and he said, thank you so much. He's like, I was really nervous. You really put me at ease. You made everything go so much smoother, and just like all these nice things. And I was like, oh my God, like, it was really touching because I didn't realize he was nervous. And I was just doing what I always do. So that really made me feel good because they were nice. So that was it. It all ended up going really smoothly. And their pictures that I've seen online so far look really good. So I can't wait to see more of Megan's sneak peeks. She's really good about getting sneak peeks out like within 3 or 4 days. So, all right. If you're still listening, it means you made it through the whole episode. Thank you. If you haven't already, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening. And if you would give us an honest rating and review, I would love that as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to A Second Helping. Please like and subscribe.